For unknown reasons, it stopped. So for some reason, it keeps dying. And it's even stopping my recording. And we're going here. Is this my whole issue where... No, it's not. All the uploading is going on in a separate box that's not on the V. So this keeps dying. The upload speed is not even that high. I mean, that's... can't be that's stopping it. Maybe I just need to reboot. This claims it's getting it. It did drop down to medium, which I think mostly is okay. What is this doing? Because it does seem like it's my software stopping. So I don't know how long this missed all this. Yeah, other cloud providers have their own fucking bullshit. I don't care a lot about this though, and this doesn't say anything. What are the sources? Oh. So yeah, we definitely don't want to do this. And I don't know. Okay, it stopped again, so I restarted, and we will be attempting to see if it just continues on. It seems like it might be considering this the same stream, because I wasn't down long enough. Let's see how it goes after restarting in the ATEM. Wait, what? Oh. solutions. Yeah. That would not work. Because how do you have more than one thing listening on 80 or 443? Plus, it's just listening on rando ports. So, alrighty, man. Yeah, you gotta set up this stuff. And in my cases, load balancing means port forwarding. I mean, bare metal is also like VM or whatever. Wow, it even... Is this like part of the name, or is that their logo? We are still on air. It's been 3 minutes, so maybe the reboot helped. Check, check. We are still streaming, so that's good. The reboot must have helped. And I think it just continued on. I didn't have to start a new one. That's good. I wish there was a better way to combine these, or to, I don't know, have it not be different things. Anyway. This is the other thing, is like, okay, then you gotta get your IP addresses you're gonna use. So if you're at home or somewhere you're using DHCP, you just have to like somehow go into your router and be able to block out that range that you then assign. How if that was the other question. So, like, you'd really want if you got a home Kubernetes cluster for, like, running whatever local containers you want, would you ultimately want that to be, I don't know, be your, like, gateway router like you use for your Wi-Fi? Probably not. You'd want a hardline, though. You might want your NAT router to be integrated with a load balancer, though, kind of like a cloud load balancer. You can do port forwards. You can't get multiple external IP addresses that way, though. Because your, like, internet service provider is not going to give you any just extra IP addresses. So in that case, you would definitely have to be doing the SNI HTTPS termination. Maybe you could even do it in the router. Have an ingress on the gateway box. Whatever. That would be kind of interesting, though. I wonder if there's any sort of, I know there's all the, like, home lab people or whatever, but serve the home wasn't, I think that's like something, yeah. Although this is overboard, I would assume. But do they have, so a guide, tips, oh god, stop that. Stop putting this shit in the way. Yeah. What is this? Now we're off on a side quest here. Still, this is like, I just want, like, you need Ethernet and power. And PoE is too low power. Like, you want to be able to run a Mac Studio, which says 480 watts is maxing out, apparently. So, that's pretty significant. So, at 48 volts, that would be 10 amps. Highest for USB now is 240. That's 48 volts at 5 amps, I believe. Well, yeah. So it's almost like you do, or you are going to have like your power separate from the communication thing. If you were going to hit that 480 watts, there's no DC power standard, it seems, that matches that currently. So really it's like the thought was like, so you can get 100 watts theoretically off of 20 volts, 5 amps USB-C. So you could just make that your standard power requirement, which I think is the same thing they use for the machine, the AI chip or whatever in the Tesla. I think I remember a long time ago that was the thing, but so you just say, your unit of thing is 100 watts, which is probably decent. And so with USB-C, you could then get 40 gigabits per second, I think, but on like a meter long or 0.8 meter long cable. So a meter cable length, but if you're putting it in some sort of cluster, then that's not a problem, that distance. So that was the other question I had a while back. USB-C direct computer to computer networking. No. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Yeah. Like, so, yeah, like USB C. Yeah, okay. It's back in 8 years ago. So I guess what you'd have is you could have oh, here we go. files having symmetrical endpoints. Oh. So what does that mean? Does that mean... So USB 4. Boom. I think this is what the Jeff Greeling guy was alluding to in the video, but it wasn't what the video was about. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. First... No. Wow, so this is just there like you would expect, and you got... This is saying USB 3. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. saying USB 3. So what is USB 4? So this goes like way higher speeds actually even. Transfer feature. Let's just go ahead and So anyway, it's a fucking thing. Yeah. So yeah, this is the same where you've got to like get the IP address and then put the IP address in there. Right. Which putting the actual IP address in there is really the only way this could be well, I mean, if it's a name, whatever, I guess. But okay, it's time to take a break. We're still on air, so it's still working. Okay. Wow, this is some stuff about IP addresses that you'd have to set up. Of course, in my case, I am only going to have one backend container, so this is not relevant. Oh my god. I guess this is like the generic thing. Okay, so where are some actual... so AWS supports it. Good gravy. Experimental? Man. There's no table of contents on this thing. Yeah, we're never going to read that. So, are we really back to Cert Manager and the thing where it's like this? Can I get this thing on the left going? I still can't escape. Does ingress have to be configured separately from the deployment with multiple virtual hosts? Either have to have multiple external IP addresses or SNI. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate having IP addresses though. Yeah. You definitely have extra setup in your local environment too. If you use the service type load balancer and it has a range of IP addresses it can use. But that's probably just unavoidable in what you want. You don't want every app in your cluster to have to go through this same gateway machine or whatever. That doesn't matter. Maybe. But you do want the least amount of middleware intermediaries you can have. And having the ingress controller and doing this where you're using, I think it installs Nginx ingress. Create a cluster, deploy that. Oh. So they're using... Oh, I thought this was something different. So they create an ingress. There's this... This is generic, though. Which is fair, because then each service can interpret that however they want. You don't technically need this. Because that's apparently the default. So this does not, oh, this is where they're like creating one that's just HTTP. Then you put cert manager in there, and then you create the issuer for let's encrypt. And then you change the ingress. In this case, they're first creating a secret. So basically this is like you're allocating storage for the certificate. It's a Kubernetes secret. And then adding the issuer. I guess the point that I was trying to get to before was that the ingress is like a standalone thing almost. Like, it's not connected closely with your app. But if you're doing the service load balancer, you have to have external IP addresses for each one, which I feel like still is okay. No, it's past break time.